Welcome everyone to today's webinar on cross-selling strategies. I am Kent Jackway, the Director of Annuities here at Gordon Marketing, and today we're going to walk through some pretty unique ideas on how we can pivot from one product to another. So it's going to kind of start with the Med Sup and then show you how you can just kind of filter through slowly, a little bit at a time, into other opportunities, especially when it comes to life insurance and annuities and long-term care. So before we begin, a little housekeeping. If you have questions along the way, please type them in the question box. Don't just hit the raise your hand feature. Type them out and I will pause and try to answer them as we go. And then obviously at the end of the webinar, we'll go ahead and do a round of questions as well. So let's begin. Let's take a look here at different cross-selling strategies. Like I said, we're going to start with Med Sup, and I'm going to teach you a way that you can pivot through to the other products. And it's going to be easy, guys. This is not really, really difficult. And the biggest message I want you to get, even worth writing down right now, is that we're not going to try to teach you to be annuity experts or life insurance experts or long-term care experts. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to give you some strategies and some techniques on how to gather the information that we need to put together some ideas for you to go back and present to your clients. Let us do all the hard work. Let us have all the product knowledge and the strategy knowledge. That's what you're working with us for. And we will individually, as time goes on, train you and teach you how to present the concepts that we come up with. So let's begin. Let's look at how we can pivot from Med Sup into a life insurance idea. So put yourself in mind that you just renewed a Med Sup with your clients, and I want to point out here that Med Sup is a key term. This would not be a good strategy for your Med Advantage clients, just the Med Sup clients. So you go back and see them, and you're talking about the Med Sup, and you're going to ask them a few questions as you review their Med Sup benefits. You're going to talk about how this covers the gap between the start of care and when Medicare benefits start kicking in. And you're going to explain to them, this is your basic stuff. This is stuff that you know. How it covers medical expenses like doctor visits, hospital stays, medications. But what I want you to key in on is what's not covered. Okay, what does the insurance and Medicare not cover? And let me give you an example here. Let's take a look at a map real quick, and let's say your client lives down here in Clearwater Beach, Florida. They got a nice house, they're living the dream down in Florida, but as time goes on and age starts catching up with them, the husband develops a little bit of a heart condition. And it's actually more than a little bit. It's pretty serious. And there's really only one place in the country where he can get care, and that's up here in Cleveland at the Cleveland Clinic. So now you've got a situation where you've got a house down in Florida, and husband needs to be up at the Cleveland Clinic maybe for a couple months, guys. A lot of times when people go to this place, they're there for a while. So what are some of the extra expenses that the wife might run into? Travel, obviously, hotels, food, maintenance back at home, have to pay somebody to go mow the yard, take care of things, maybe even pet care. The point is there's these unforeseen expenses that we don't know where the money's coming from, because this is stuff that's not covered. So you need to make sure that your clients have adequate cash reserves. And it's a simple question. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, we've taken care of all the medical side of this, but I want to focus in and make sure you understand what's going to happen if you actually have to use this policy that I've sold to you. Do you have cash reserves? Well, with your Med Sup clients, and that's why we talk about, how this may be not a good idea for Med Advantage clients. For Med Sup clients, typically you'll find that they do have pretty decent cash reserves, and they have it in their bank. When I was selling, I ran across this all the time. People, 65 and older would have 25, 30, maybe as high as 50 or 60,000 just sitting in their savings account. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask them, all right, why do you have it in the bank? And their answer is going to be, well, because it's liquid. If I need to get it money, I can turn that spigot on, get my money I need, turn it off. Have next emergency, turn it on, and get the money I need, turn it off. That's why they have it in the bank. So, the key phrase here, another thing to write down. Once they tell you that, you're going to just simply ask them, can I share an idea with you about that bank account? So you've got $25,000 sitting in your bank account. What kind of interest are you making? Well, maybe like 0.2%. Okay, so you got your money in the bank account. You like it because it's liquid. You're only making 0.2. Now's when I'm going to get a little technical with you, because I want to teach you guys a little technique. I don't know if you've ever used one or not, but it's high time you did, because it can make you a lot of money. I want to show you now how to use a financial calculator. If you already know, sorry if this is redundant, but this is the key. This is going to show your knowledge. Okay, you're not just pulling out some report or some spreadsheet. You're going to sit there and show them you know what you're talking about. So what you're going to do is you're going to take out your financial calculator and you're going to put in $25,000. Now, when you're entering into a financial calculator a number that you want to see grow, it's like you're investing it away from you. You're putting it into something. So it's a negative number. So you have to put it in as a negative number. So I've got $25,000 sitting there. I'm going to hit that as PV, for present value. Then I'm going to enter in the 0.2. You don't hit the percent sign. You just put in 0.2 and you hit the IY, the interest yearly button. And let's say we want to figure out, what this is going to be worth in 5 years. So you put in a 5 and you hit the N for number of years. And then you simply push the compute FV for future value. And that's going to tell you the future value. So you run that for the client and you show them, if it takes 5 years for you to have your emergency, this is what your account's going to be worth. That's it. You've made $251 over 5 years. Then you say, well, let's take a look at what it would be for 10 years. So you simply type in a 10. You don't have to go through everything else. You're just going to change it. You type in a 10, push the M button, compute future value. So over a 10-year period, your account's going to be worth $25,504. So you've made $504. Let's look at 15. Hit your N, compute future value. See how quick this can be? If you have your calculator right there. So in 15 years, you've made $760. Well, let's look at one more. Let's look at 20 years. So if you don't have your emergency for 20 years, your savings account is only going to make you $26,000 or grow to $26,019. So $1,019. But actually, it's going to be less than that, because each year that grows, the little growth that it has is taxable. So you're really not even going to make the $1,019, because they're going to take tax out each year. Well, let me share an idea with you. Let me show you a new account, another idea that you could use that $25 a different way. And this account is just like your bank account. It's liquid. You can get your money out whenever you want. The difference with this new account is it's going to earn a little bit more interest for you. It's going to earn about an average of 3.5%. I would say on the low end, 2%. The high end, it could go as high as 6%. And what this is, guys, is life insurance. This is the single premium life policy. It's an index universal life policy from National Western. Their actual fixed account is doing 3.5. But the index accounts are through the roof. I mean, they have incredible caps. They have an uncapped strategy. It's just built for performance. And remember here, guys, you're competing against 0.2%. So we're going to use 3.5% as our example. So you take your calculator back out. You haven't changed anything on it. And you're going to type in 3.5 and then hit your interest yearly. and then show your 5 years again as your N, and hit compute future value. Well, now, over 5 years, your account's up to $29,692. So if you don't have your emergency between now and 5 years from now, I've made you $4,600, almost $4,700. Well, what about 10 years out? Hit your 10, push your N, compute future value. Now you're up to $35,000. You write this down. This is a napkin type sale. Now you're up to $35,000. I've made you 10 grand in your account that you're just not touching, and it's still completely liquid. So if you don't have that emergency, let's look at 15 years. Over 15 years, we're now up to $41,883. And this is money that you're not going to touch unless you have an emergency. Let's just finish it out. 20 years, boom. Almost doubled their money in 20 years. And the cool thing about this, guys, is you're not asking them to get out their IRA statement. You're not asking them to get out all their annuities. Or you're not asking them to, start looking at you versus their financial advisor they already have. You're talking about the money that the financial advisor doesn't care about. Their cash reserves. Okay, the money's sitting right in the bank, and it's the easiest money to move. They transfer it to checking and write you a check. Boom, done. But now you've shown them this new way of saving money. And by the way, this way is tax deferred. Because that life insurance, when you dump a single premium into it, it's going to MEC, which basically turns it into an annuity. Okay? The growth is now tax deferred, so they're not paying the taxes each year. And they're going to pick up a tax-free death benefit. Is that a big deal in the sale? No, it's not, but hey, it's kind of nice. The way I like to structure it with people is, in my bank account, if something happens prematurely and you pass away, we're going to throw a bonus on it, add some money to it, and pay it out to your kids tax-free. Does your bank account do that? No, it doesn't. So again, this is life insurance, but it's a special kind of life insurance. There's no blood and urine that they have to go through. There's no medical records you got to go get. You're only going to ask them 12 questions. If they answer no to the 12 questions, boom, they're approved. You get them on the phone with the underwriter, approved. Not, contingent approved. No, it's approved. The money is still, again, completely liquid, and you have better than average growth. So you've got your napkin sale going on. You sit down and you basically say, which bank do you want? And again, you're going after money that the financial advisor doesn't even care about. They're not even going to bring them into the conversation. And you just locked in a wonderful, wonderful sale and made them happy. So if you did this, if you got a $25,000 sale with this product, guys, is it worth your time? Well, on an 11% commission, you're making $2,750 just to go back out and put these clients' money, their cash reserve money, in a better place. It is truly a win-win situation. So that's how we pivoted from MedSup to life insurance. Now let's go a step further. How are we going to pivot from life insurance into the annuity? Now we're crossing into the realm of their existing financial advisor. And that's okay. That's okay, because we're not going to go after it all. We're going to go after a little bit at a time here, guys. So how do we take that life insurance sale and pivot it to annuity? Real simple. When you're getting ready to move that life insurance, that money from their savings account into the new life plan, you need to bring up a very important point. Your governing body, the NAIC, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, explain this to them. It's really simple. Every state has an insurance commissioner appointed by the governor, and they get together and form the NAIC, and that's who creates the rules I have to follow. Now, if I'm going to move $25,000 of your money, I have to still make sure that it's a suitable sale. Because in 2010, they came out with these model regulations that I have to follow. So if I could, I just need to ask you some questions about the rest of your money. So when I turn this in, they'll say it's a suitable sale. Then you pull out a suitability questionnaire, not a fact finder, not a financial profile, not anything that's going to look like you're just digging into what they got. It's a suitability questionnaire. And you complete the suitability questionnaire. Is this something you turn in with the life insurance? No. This is for you. This is for your information, okay? Should you do this even on a single premium life sale? Yeah, you should. Do you technically have to? No, but you should. It's covering yourself and you're gathering data at the same time, and that's the key. Again, I don't want to try to turn you into an annuity expert. That's what Clayton and I and our staff in here does. You just have to be an expert on how to gather data. So before you do that life insurance sale, you get this filled out and you send it in to us here at Gordon Marketing. And what we're going to do with it is we're going to analyze it and look for the next idea. Okay, and that is more than likely going to be an annuity idea. Maybe we're going to look for more guaranteed income for them. Create an RMD strategy because these are med-sup clients, so they're getting close to that 70 and a half age. Maybe we're going to balance out their portfolio. Maybe when we do the suitability for them, you ask them about their risk tolerance, and they're like, oh, I'm ultra-conservative, And we take a look at where their assets are, and they're all in the market. So maybe they want to reduce their risk. Maybe they want to pick up some tax deferral because everything they own is taxable. Maybe they want to just avoid probate and pass money on to kids better. Or maybe they're short on their income gap and they're just pulling out of their brokerage account to fill that gap, and we can show them a better way. The point here, guys, is, again, we don't expect you to do this type of analysis. We expect you to gather the data, send it in here. We'll figure out what the next idea is for you, and then when the time is right, train you on that specific idea and how to go out and present it. Because the last thing you want to do is go after everything at once. You've got to first get their cash reserves moved. Before we pivot to the annuity, you want to get that done. So you might even put a couple months in between those two suggestions, those two strategies. So let's move in now. Okay, so now we've talked about how to go from med-sup to life and life to annuity. Well, how are we going to pivot then to the last thing, long-term care? Because every one of your clients need this, and with what's going on in the long-term care industry, people are confused. They're scared. They don't know what's going on. They're getting to the point now where they're not even thinking about it anymore. Well, let's talk about this idea. Again, this is going to be us creating this. Long-term care boils down to one thing and one thing only: income. Almost everything that we do in this business starts with income. Income is the core. So when we're looking at their suitability form, we can tell, okay, what is their income versus expenses? Well, either they were already set up by their financial advisor to have, enough to cover their expenses, or maybe with our first idea for the annuity, we fill that gap between their expenses and their income. So say this client's bringing in $54,000 a year and they're spending $54,000 a year. They're hitting their number. But they still have other assets out there that are just growing in some brokerage account somewhere. And they have nothing to protect them from long-term care. So you're going to go back to them and say, hey, I've given you a couple ideas throughout the year this year. Remember that first idea? I talked about how we could get your cash reserves working harder but still keeping it liquid. You like that. And then you liked my annuity idea. We got you a little more risk averse and kind of matched up how your risk tolerance is versus what you actually own. Well, I need to talk to you about one more idea I think you guys should really consider, because it's important to you. You've told me that you want to pass money on to your kids. Well, the biggest threat in doing that is long-term care. So I've looked at your situation and I came up with an idea for you that I want to go over. I think you guys could really benefit from buying a life insurance policy that has a long-term care rider. And guys, we could fill in whatever here: an annuity, that has long-term care benefits, whatever we come up with based on the client's situation. But watch how cool this is. So we run numbers and we protect these clients perfectly with a policy that costs them $12,000 a year. So now we've altered their income versus expenses. We've added $12,000 of expenses. So we need to go out and find $12,000 of income. Well, where are we going to get that? Well, annuities are the #1 income producing products for retirees. So now, not only are we going to go after a life sale with long-term care benefits or a chronic illness rider or some annuity that has the benefit, we're going to sell another annuity as well to cover those expenses. We're going to increase their income. So maybe in the beginning we solved an income gap. Well, now what we've done is we've created a new gap. And we're going to solve it for them and show them how their money is going to make it. They're still fine. Their income is set. But now we've just increased their income to offset the cost of this new product. And while we've done that, we've protected them against the one thing that could ruin their legacy that they pass on to their kids, and that's long-term care. And by doing it with the life insurance with a chronic illness rider, if they never have the long-term care need, we just almost doubled the inheritance that's going to the kids. And we've definitely paid back every dime of premium that we paid for this policy because there is a death benefit tied to it. It's going to give back everything they spent plus a whole lot more. So again, we pivoted in. Now, when it comes time to present this, again, we're gonna go through this with you. We're not going to try to teach you this, concept that could help all your clients. No, we're going to focus in on this client that we've been little by little by little going after different pieces of their money. We're going to focus in on this strategy and make sure that you know exactly how to present it and exactly how to convince them that this is what they need to do. So after you get the annuity in place, they're balanced out again. You've now taken their expenses and their income and you've got them equal. You fill that new gap. So if you look back at what you've done for these clients that all you've ever done for them up to this point was renewed their Med Sup every year. You're their Med Sup agent. Well, now we've pivoted into their cash reserves and used a special life insurance policy, so you got a sale there. Then we went back in and showed them a better way to have their assets positioned with an annuity sale. And then by increasing their income to offset protection for long-term care, we've now completely covered these clients from whatever situation they could run into during retirement. And we did this all little by little, and really, we're probably telling them something that their financial advisor never even thought about. Because most financial advisors, especially if they're securities guys, they just have all the money in a brokerage account, and their idea of a retirement plan is just to manage and grow that money as much as they can and pull out when they need. There's no guarantees there, guys. There's no stability. There's no security in their retirement. You can provide that for them with our help. But again, I want to emphasize the key is to take your time. Don't go after it all at once. You'll lose because you'll get in a battle with their financial advisor that's been working with them for years. And if you go after the whole thing, it very rarely ever works. So if we do it just piece by piece, start with those cash reserves, build it into helping them with their annuities, build it into eventually helping them with their long-term care. Now we've slowly made them a client, a total client, where you are their only advisor. And we did that without you having to sit down and become this ultra financial guru. No, that's our job in here, guys. If we can just teach you to take that first step, go after those cash reserves, you'll get the least amount of pushback from the client, and the financial advisor will not even be involved, and then pivot into getting that information on that suitability form, then we can really start strategizing and going after the rest of their money piece by piece by piece. So that's pretty much the presentation today. Hopefully it was kind of detailed and simple at the same time. My goal is to really get you to focus on, all right, how can I perfect my presentation to go after those cash reserves? If that's what you focus on to start, it's going to lead to so many more sales. Cross-selling is simple, especially for you guys that are doing med subs. I mean, you're sitting down with a financial advisor's target market. They're at that age where they have money, they have needs, and more than likely they haven't been taken care of like they should have been. And we can definitely help them. You've got the relationships, we've got the knowledge. Let's team up and get out there and help people and make you some great money along the way. Any questions, guys? Now's the time to ask, and if you have any questions about the products I've talked about or about the strategy, I mean, it is pretty simple. Okay, here we go. We got a question. Can you please make this available to watch later? Yes, Cora, we will definitely do that so you can recap it. We're working on actually getting a lot of my past webinars out on our website. And again, on the website, if you go out there, go to the annuity section and click on the sales tools link on the left, and then you'll see a button that says webinars. And it's going to give you the schedule, the full schedule of our upcoming webinars, and it's going to give you the ones in the past. And then, this isn't really a question, just, well, I guess it is. Are you presenting next month at the Medicare Boot Camp? No, I will not be presenting there. But we are going to do some more live training on this. My goal is to get a video produced to help you guys just reinforce. But really, if you can just get down a simple concept of going out to your MedSup clients, explaining that there's possibly in the future going to be things that aren't covered. You know, you want to think out of the box for them. You know, let's talk about if you had to use this MedSup policy, what does that look like with some possible scenarios? And the goal is to simply ask them, do you have cash reserves? Because 90% of the time, they're going to say, yes, we have X amount of dollars in the bank. Most 65-plus-year-olds do. Then you can just pivot right into that, your bank versus my bank scenario. And I've done this, guys. I've done this in front of clients, and I've yet to have anybody say no. Because one of the key components in that product from National Western, that life product, is the fact that it has ROP, return of premium. So if they don't like what's going on, at any point, they can just take all the money out and throw it back in their savings account and make their crappy 0.2%. So it's got an exit strategy built into it. But if you learn to present it with some passion and with some conviction that, hey, if you're just going to have that money sitting there waiting for an emergency to happen, it might as well be making more than 0.2%. And if a tragedy happens, it's going to pay even more back to your family. And the questions, as long as they answer no, I mean, if you have a client age 65 or older that answers no to all 12 of those questions, and by the way, you'll have those questions ahead of time. We can actually send you out a copy of those questions to take with you. If they can answer no to all those questions, it's almost idiotic for people that have money in the bank. Knowing that this product exists and that they can qualify for it, it's almost crazy to have money sit in a savings account. The only reason it's there is because it's liquid. That's it. That's it. It's liquid and it's safe. Well, want to get into a debate whether banks are safer than insurance companies? Let's go. Insurance companies will win that debate every time if you do your research. And the liquidity exists for both sides. Any other questions, guys? Guys, I really believe that this is the start of a huge movement here at Gordon Marketing. I think that if we can turn all of our senior agents into agents that think out of the box, agents that are focusing in on not just the product they've sold, but every possible scenario of when they might use it, we could really start helping some people. We got another question here. Is there a waiting period before they can access their money? No, there's not. There is not. They could buy this thing and 2 days later take all the money out. No penalties, no surrender charges, nothing. That's the power of that return of premium on it. All right. So the questions are turning more into compliments. I like that. Thank you very much, Ray. I thank you for those nice words. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to end the webinar. So if there's any other questions, you guys have our phone number. Give us a call. We'd love to walk through this. We will get this posted on the website as soon as I possibly can, and we'll have some more different ways of getting this message across to you coming in the near future. So have a great day. Have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to hearing from all you guys. Thank you so much.